I submit to you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that the defendant knew that there were video surveillance in that store. And as you can see on the video that I've played, it almost seems like an afterthought to reach over and get the two suckers. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the defendant stated that they allegedly went to the well. That they put the safe in the back seat of that car. When that car was found on Tuesday, this was the condition of the back seat of that car. There were two child seats in that car. And I submit to you that neither one of those has been removed. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, there was also no evidence of CPR performed in this case. You heard the defendant's original statement to the Kentucky State Police that he allegedly performed it for 30 minutes. But then after knowing the autopsy report, the conclusions on that, he takes the stand and says, well, I just did it for 5. Again, no evidence that CPR was performed in this case. He also states there were 2 straps used to lower this child in the well. This is a strap that he allegedly used to lower the child in the well. I urge you, when you go back in the jury room, take a look at this. Strap has one metal hook on this end, one metal hook on this end. This is the safe that the child was found in. Take a look at the safe. How did he lower this safe into that well with a strap with 2 metal hooks? I submit to you there's no place to hook this on this well. I submit to you that the child wasn't lowered in the well. The child was thrown in the well. And yes, that child was safe, might have gotten stuck. I submit to you that this strap was taken and it was wrapped around the opening of this safe. This is the door to the safe. It is obviously not attached, and I don't believe it was attached when the child was placed in there. I believe the child was placed in the well and maybe not able to fit the entire well. This is not a big safe. The safe top was placed on top. The strap was strapped around. The safe was thrown into the well. Then it's possible that the safe got stuck. Mr. Barber, Amy climbed in the well and tied one piece of twine to the strap, made himself a handle to lift it, dislodged the safe from that well, and then it fell down to the bottom after breaking this grass rope. I submit to you that that's supported by the evidence. Detective Bowe, when he testified, he went down in that well. And what did he find? He only found that strap. He only found that safe. He only found that door to the safe. This safe was turned over. The body was out of the safe, submerged in water. Below the body was the door and the strap. Like the strap would come off and the child had come out. Got a copy of the jury instructions. I want to go over it. If you can turn with me to instruction number 4. You will find the defendant guilty of murder under this instruction if and only if you believe from the evidence beyond reasonable doubt all the following: that in this county, on or about May 17, 2015, and before the finding of the indictment herein, he caused the death of Lane Wallace, and that in doing so, he caused the death of Lane May Wallace intentionally. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the definition of intentionally is on instruction number 3. A person acts intentionally with respect to a result or to conduct with his conscious objective to cause that result or to engage in that conduct. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I submit to you that this was not some mere accident. That something happened to that child on that morning, something violent. There's evidence that she was struck and bleeding. There's evidence that her forceful hairs or her hairs have been forcibly removed from her head. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I submit to you that there's been proof beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant acted intentionally in this case. That it was his conscious objective. I don't know why he did it, and I don't have to prove why he did it. But I believe that it was his conscious objective at some point that day to kill that child. There's also another instruction: wanton murder. If you do not find the guilty under instruction, if you do not find the defendant guilty under instruction number 4, you will find the defendant guilty of murder under this instruction if and only if you believe from the evidence beyond a reasonable doubt all of the following: that in this county, on or about May 17th, and before the finding of the indictment herein, he killed Lane Wallace by taking her 2-year-old out in treacherous terrain while he was under the influence of methamphetamine, and that in doing so, he wantonly engaged in conduct which created a great risk of death to Lane Wallace, and thereby caused the death of Lane Wallace under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to human life. Ladies and gentlemen, the jury, I also submit to you that there's been proof beyond a reasonable doubt of that also, that the defendant admitted that he shot up methamphetamine the night before taking Wayne Wallace out, that he injected methamphetamine into his veins. He admits to taking the child out with him that early morning. And he also testified on the stand that he knew it was dangerous to take the child out because he had been out with her before and she fell in a creek and almost died that day. He knew that there was a dangerous risk out there, and yet he disregarded that. And I submit to you, there's proof beyond a reasonable doubt that he's also, in finding also guilty of wanton murder. Completely at his word, all of this allegedly happened where the mother was responsible. He's still guilty of tampering with physical evidence. He placed that child in a well knowing that the authorities were going to be called. He said that himself. He knew the authorities were going to be called. And he made the conscious effort to place that child in a well and then throw rocks on top of the child. Finally, you're instructed on abuse of recording. Ladies and gentlemen, this was not very good. This is not treating a young child properly. I don't believe I have to say anything more than that. It was not. If you go to the form verdict, I request that under guilty that you either check murder intentional or make a check by murder one. I also request on the other two that you place a check or actually sign under the guilty form for tampering with physical evidence and abuse of force. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I want to thank you again for the time and attention that you've shown to this case. It is an important matter because Wayne Wallace died May 17, 2015 when she was just 2 years old. And ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the Commonwealth believes that we've proven to you throughout this case that the defendant was responsible for her death. And I want to end this case where I began. If you remember the opening statement, I played an audio clip. And I'm going to play that for you again.
You're also looking for not being the overload, for me to have that damage. I had a laugh my hands, I put it my father, filtered, and what I do, what happened. She's a million now, so she's not here. And you can show me since she's so laughing, you know. And it's mostly for overload. You do it for a brother, you do it for a sister, for someone for anyone. All the actions of afterwards. Not for long with yourself, anyway, I'm not the bad